Hello, Flosstube.
Greetings.
I'm Laura.
I'm Joe.
Welcome to the Slovak Farm.
This is the farm where we grow cross-stitch.
One stitch at a time. Today is Monday, May 8th of the year 2023.
Hi, y'all.
How is everyone today? Hope you all had a great week.
I had an awesome week. I spent it with you.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you.
Had a pretty good week. Had a pretty good week.
My week got better about an hour and a half ago. Actually, now about 2 hours ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, last week wasn't a bad week. Last week was a good week.
I didn't have a bad week. I narrowly avoided having a bad week. Very, very long story short, one of my medications has a supply issue that makes Witchell look quick.
Supply issue from... They're right up there with the cable company in these cable boxes.
So, luckily, I called my pharmacist. We found an alternative that was close, and my doctor filled the prescription. Which I actually didn't know she was going to do, because she's kind of weird.
Yes, well, you know. Thankfully, she was willing to work with it. Well, she probably is.
Oh, when the response from the nurses, oh, that one's out too?
Yeah. They're having struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I swear, I drove, my lunchtime stitching group, 3 places, road construction on the same road.
Are they doing any by where the... Oh, tell them that story.
What?
The semi-truck?
Oh, we'll get there.
Okay. Actually, it was a semi-truck.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll come back
I was just
to that.
wondering, was one of it there?
No.
I was surprised they wouldn't be doing work to fix the damage.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. Just at the edge of town, well, not right, like, at the edge of town, but at the edge of town, they're working on, I don't know, Columbia Gas is doing something in town. They had a bunch of stuff across the street, so that's probably why they have across the street there's a gas line, there's a Columbia Gas line.
Yeah, it runs behind the houses across the street.
Yeah, so that's probably why that's flagged off. Then, I don't know what they were doing on the bridge on 57, that little culvert bridge that they pulled out and repaved last year. They had some of the pavement tore up and were doing something in there just before 83. Not that any of you have any idea where any of this is. I'm telling him road numbers so he knows.
I actually think I know what it is.
What? At
least the bridge that's over by my job, they actually have a spot where they can tear up a bit of the road, and there's like a access port. They can put a camera down through it and look underneath and inspect the bottom of the bridge.
But they just redid all that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. And then...
I didn't say that's what they were doing. I said that might be what they're doing.
Out the Medina end, towards Medina, the portion of 57 that runs next parallel to the railroad tracks, they're putting in some new housing into one of those old fields. I know. All the fields around here are getting eaten up by housing, including Grandma and Grandpa Rodachi's old farm. But they're putting in some new houses in there. It doesn't look like it's going to be a development. It looks like it may be just standalone independent housing. I don't know. But they were working on making sure that ditch was cleaned out and they could put in the access for the driveway. So it was Road Construction Fest today on the way to Medina, and I kind of avoided most of it on the way back because I was not.
Oh, there's a fourth one, but you avoided it.
What?
The giant mess they made.
Oh yeah, they're putting in a double roundabout on
Either side of a train tracks.
Yeah, they've got this. There's this intersection. You know, you've got the road, the north-south road, and then the east-west road. One side's on one side of the train tracks, one side's on the other side of the train tracks, and it's kind of a blind corner, and it's very accident-prone. So they're putting in a double roundabout, and they've been working on it since mid-March. They're supposed to be wrapping up at the end of the month. However, this has led to some interesting traffic pattern changes because it is a state route. And the detour is, I'm not gonna lie, the detour is long and awkward.
10 to 15 miles, I believe?
Yes. Unfortunately,
I'm not kidding either.
this has led to some knuckleheaded truck drivers who think that they can go down these backcountry roads with their semi-trucks. I followed one today. We got behind one last week. Now, mind you, Wednesday, every time I got, like literally Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday last week, every time I got in my car, it started raining. Wednesday, every time I got in my car, it was raining. We're going to Needlework Guild Wednesday night. I'm already running a little bit late because I got home from religious education and had to go to the bathroom. And okay, we're a little bit late. It's not that big of a deal. I planned for us to have extra time. So we get behind this semi-truck that thinks it's a great idea to take one of these backcountry roads around the detour. And then the first intersection you get to on this backcountry road is another backcountry road. Some knucklehead decided he was going to play chicken with a cement truck and try to get across the intersection before the cement truck got to the intersection. Now, mind you, the cement truck is on the road that does not have the stop sign, and the knucklehead in the SUV was on the road that had the stop sign.
I couldn't tell what it was. Spoiler, I couldn't tell what the car was.
I don't know what kind of car it was. It wasn't quite a car. But it wasn't a truck, so SUV.
Or crossover, but
Crossover,
in that range.
In that range, size range. The semi-truck ended up barreling through the front yard of the house at the intersection, at the northwest corner of the intersection, managed to just miss a light pole, threaded the needle through some trees.
And a camper.
right next to a camper. And the camper was like parked right next to. And the only reason there was this gap in the trees is because a septic system was sitting in there. And it was like this close to the second house.
It was literally in the flower bed, a foot from the porch and a foot from the steps.
Yeah, it was legit in the flower bed. This cement truck driver was either really good or both, and I'm leaning towards a little bit of both. Initially, I was like, he tore up their septic system. Actually, it looks like he did minimal damage to the septic system because
it probably just damaged the cap.
Yeah, he damaged the cap. You could tell there was a new cap on it. When I drove by the intersection today, you could tell there was a new cap on it, and you could tell the exhaust piping was new.
Yeah, that
piping, I don't know what they call
cement truck driver was kind of like that guy that landed the plane in the Hudson. He made the best of a really bad situation.
He did really
was
good.
Really good at it.
Yeah.
I'm honestly wondering if he was a former follower of the demo derby.
I don't know.
This maneuverability skills. Oh, and of course it had been after a week or two of rain. This is how deep his tracks were.
Oh yeah, his tracks, he tore up the yard. It hadn't been a week or two of rain, but it had been a lot of rain in the last few days. Like I said, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, every time I got in my car, it rained.
Well, it wasn't solid, but more often than not over the last 2 weeks, it has been raining.
It was very wet, and we have good old Lorain County clay, so when it gets wet, it gets wet. It stays wet.
And it also, it becomes literally wet.
And it is clay. It is clay. It is clay. So, no, I don't know if the driver of the car was injured. I will say the Ohio State Patrol was on scene taking care of the accident, and I follow the Ohio State Patrol on Facebook. There was no mention of the accident.
What I will say is...
So I'm assuming that maybe there was injury, that there was probably some injuries, but...
Let's just say that person better be very glad that cement truck dodged, because it ripped the front half of that car off.
I mean, it ripped the car up, yeah. So...
But luckily, I don't think I didn't see any, but it was just... That was interesting driving by.
You know where Guild was an adventure Wednesday night? Because, in all of that drama getting there, we had to deal with a rude-ass person. I don't do rude well. So it's now the second person that's on my, if you even initiate it, I will tear you up list.
Oh, and I put up with it, did I?
No.
But I was polite about it. You see, I'm a firm believer, and please steal this if you want. You want to get a troll mad at you? You want to ruin their day? You want to make a bad, evil, rude person loathe your existence? Respond with respect and kindness. I know it is not easy, but you make it so that all their hard work and tormenting you isn't doing squat. It seriously cheeses them off, and it is hysterical.
I'm at the point where it's going to get tore up. Politely, but it's going to get tore up. And that was all just one day. Like, the rest of the week was actually not that bad. Very busy.
Technically, Wednesday wasn't bad. It was just weird.
It was a lot. Yeah,
the day was a lot.
And, oh my gosh. My other funny story from the week. We try to keep the whole intro, talk about personal life stuff to a minimum. But this is another funny story from the week. Friday, I went to a luncheon that is put on by the Cleveland Diocese, the Cleveland Catholic Diocese. It's for the Catholics in Lorain County. Our church sponsors a table. So our church pays for the seats at all of the table, and we pay the church to go. So Monday afternoon, they called me and asked me if I wanted to go, because Father didn't have a whole lot of people going. And I said, certainly I would go. I had actually missed the first two this year and had wanted to go. But, so when they called, so I went. It was a very lovely presentation about an orphanage that is in, I can't remember the name of the country in Latin America. In the late 70s, early 80s, in the late 70s, there was a priest down there that was killed that's now a saint. Can't remember his name. And there was 4 women that were martyred in the early 80s. They were kidnapped, tortured, and killed. 2 of them were from the Cleveland area. So we have a connection with this, and because a lot of these people were very connected to the Cleveland Diocese. The diocese has kind of always had a connection. She talked about all of that. She did really good keeping on time, even though she had a lot of slides, until she got to questions and answers. She went a little bit over. And it wasn't like hugely over. It was like 5 minutes. It wasn't hugely over. So as they were wrapping up, the Master of Ceremonies gets up and says, are there any more questions? The priest from my church goes, no. We all about fell out of our chairs laughing at him. I'm like, Father's ready to go home. It really kind of made my day. It just made me giggle because Father was done. Father was ready. But in fairness to the speaker, she did do a really good job presenting, and it was kind of nice it was nice to learn about sort of how we have that connection to that whole situation. And El Salvador. Yes.
I remembered, because it wasn't that also where we did with our old church help with that same place?
Yes. Frequently churches in this diocese do a lot of work with helping the missions in El Salvador. There's a mission that sort of helps with helping the people and helping the church down there. But there's also a mission that is sort of separate that the diocese does a lot of work with. That's an orphanage. And she talked about a lot of, what the orphanage started out as was sort of a place for children who no longer had families because of the Civil War in El Salvador to live and grow up in, has now transitioned to a place for teen and preteen girls who are escaping basically slavery. You know what slavery in that country?
Okay, let's move on.
To help them. But Father's kind of cracked me up.
I need to say hi to commenters.
Yes, so why don't we shout out our commenters? Since it's been 15 minutes of us jabbering. 16 now.
Andrea, Teresa, Bridget, the same one twice.
Yes.
Susie, Scott, Andre, Lynn, and PD Stitcher tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh.
So, thank you all so much for commenting, and all of you who encourage me to work on Scenic Farm, you will be pleased. What?
Lynn, can me and your husband go hang out and play?
Legos, Tonka trucks.
Let's make a Tonka truck out of Legos.
That would be cool. I'm sure they have a kit for it.
They do. Actually, I know they do.
Ooh. But those Lego kits are so expensive.
Why do you think I don't have one? Especially when they partner with Tonka.
Yeah.
And Han, the whole thing was a moving Tonka truck.
Uh-huh. Well, why don't we move on to clips? Thank you all for commenting on our video last week. Those of you who were commenting encouragements on me finishing Scenic Farm, well, let's move into whips. Whips!
I actually did something!
That was a little too enthusiastic on our part.
It's been, a month and a half?
It's been a while.
I did, who the flip actually? Dimensions. Sorry, it was all the way down here. Not very big.
I wasn't trying to yell at you. I was just saying Dimensions.
Star Wars Family in 3 languages. And of course I'm being extra. Instead of doing 4, I'm going to do all 10 because...
Why not?
I don't not like any character. I even like the Stormtroopers, okay? I don't discriminate because they can't shoot. And by the way, there's actually a... can I go on tangent? There is a lovely theory that the reason why the Stormtroopers missed so badly in all of the scenes where you see them trying to shoot people was because they were actually under orders to let them go so they'd lead them to the rebel base. So they were missing on purpose.
Could be.
I mean, they put a tracking device and everything. I mean, it was planned for them to escape, so maybe they were missing on purpose, and that's why they can't hit the broadside of a barn.
It could be. It could very well be.
Okay, I did. Well, Leia went from half her hair to all of her hair, a face, and there's actually a white torso here. I might actually have to, backstitch just the shirt so you can see it. Because this is pure white, and I actually realized what comes with it is slightly off-white. Whoops.
You can throw some black stitches around it, backstitch it.
Yep. But I got something in.
Yay, what else did you do this week?
Oh, what, this thing?
Yeah.
I was going to do these together.
Show yours.
Okay. I did this little guy.
It is a button.
See if you can get it slow.
It is a Dorset button. It's not going to pick up the detail. have the details. Alright. I'll take a picture and...
Well, there's a really funny story behind this.
I will take a picture and put it in at the very end of the whips. Maybe.
Okay.
I gotta see if I can figure out how to... I gotta see if I have a cord that can transfer pictures from my phone to the computer.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
It's over there by my desk.
Okay, you'll be in charge of that while I work on this. Bringing me the cord.
Okay. Funny story. This just shows you how backwards I can be. I'm sitting there thinking I'm following the directions. Turns out I sort of was. And I'm like, this thing looks so weird. I can't figure out why it looks like this. They're like, Joe, turn it around. Oh, that looks like the picture. I literally was stitching it backwards. Doing exactly what you're supposed to do.
But stitch it backwards.
But doing it from the back. And the thing is, I actually think it was easier.
If that's what worked for you.
Then again, I am also the person that learned to jump rope backwards before I learned to jump rope forwards. I don't do anything normal.
He's not normal. Y'all, he's not normal.
Nope. Though, yeah, I was so happy. And this will become something else, hopefully, by next week.
Hopefully. If I get
it determines on the wifey's availability.
My hair looks awful tonight. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of a squirrel, wasn't it? But it's okay. Alright.
Hey, I'm so happy I did stuff.
I am happy you did stuff too. So, I said last week that I kind of wanted to focus on getting through a couple of Olympics so that I could stay on track with getting to the next quarterly goal by the end of June. I'm not entirely sure I'm on track for that. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not. But it's okay. I have a feeling I may make up for it on a couple of them. But I pulled out. It was Belle's turn to be stitched on for the Olympics. She hadn't been stitched on in a while.
You can do it, Belle.
We can do it. I did 1,400 stitches on this girl.
And how many of those were half or back? Was this the one that was giving you the back stitch torment?
It was only about 300-400 stitches that were actually back stitch.
Worth or total?
Total.
Okay, so no,
worth. But anyways, that's what counted. So here we are. Dun, 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 dun. This is on a piece of Raven by the Slovak Farm. It's a 32 count. Yes, it's a 32 count. And I backstitched the sides of her dress. All the roses are backstitched. The bottom of her dress. Could you please hold? Thanks. So I backstitched the sides and the roses. The bottom of her dress is not quite completely backstitched because there is some white. It's not quite white, but there's some white color in these little ruffles that needs to go in. And I didn't get the backstitch, so I haven't backstitched completely the bottom of her dress. But as you can see, I did a lot of the white to fill in her dress.
Can I set this down?
You can set it down. There's beads and stuff, but they're kind of like in weird spots, and there's some backstitching on that. But I am quite pleased with my progress on her. Because
I'm assuming there's more beading to be done with that.
Oh, there's some backstitch to be done with the rose that she's holding. But in all truthful honesty, those beads are probably going to come out, and I'm going to redo it in Krynic, like I did for the chandelier because I hate how these beads are laying. I hate it. I hate it. And when I did the chandelier was supposed to be all beaded too. It looked awful. So I'm going to end up doing it in Krynic. I just have to pull the beads out. So I will do that eventually. So project 1. I didn't work on a whole lot of variety. Because I just didn't. I will not show you that one until next week, because technically I don't work on that today. I pulled out, so that took care of Olympic 19, which was the Mexico City Olympic. So then I started on the monthly. I also wanted to get a jump on the monthlies, which I put Mill Hills Button and Beads Farmer's Market for the M for market in the title, and E for the eggplant. That's on there. And also, this made up a portion of stitches for one of this week's prompts. Something that you have battled with. I'll explain that when we get to this week's prompt.
Something you've battled with?
Yes, something that's been a battle.
I have tempted to do that prompt just to be a smart arse.
Something that has been a battle.
When we get that far, I'm going to tell you my smart arse idea.
And this qualifies as something that I've had a battle with because the perforated paper and I were not getting along, and I ended up switching to fabric, and I didn't want to do all of the background because I wanted the hand-dyed fabric to show through and whatnot. So it was a little bit of a challenge. But I did 730 stitches on this. So I finished the middle square, the farmer's market square, did the whole carrot square, and I started on the eggplant. There are beads on the carrots, so there's beads on all of the vegetables. And this is on a piece of random 14 count Ada. It's random. It's basically a bunch of dye that I threw in a bottle together because I didn't know what it was. I do that a lot of times. So that was my battle. Right, that's coming along nicely. I only have to finish the eggplant, do the broccoli, and the beet, and it'll be all done. Oh, and put on the carrot in the middle. I am saving the carrot for last, only because that sucker is kind of, I mean, it's sizable. I don't want to be clunking it around while I'm stitching. I'd be afraid of breaking it. And this is one of the old ones that has the handmade big buttons. Mill Hill is phasing those out because the person that makes them retired. So, and now, onto, this is not the final thing I stitched on this week, it's the second thing I stitched on this week. But, we have Scenic Farm by Dimensions. This has been a whip since December of 2019, and I am pleased to say it is no longer a whip. It is finished. Come on, focus. There we go. Of course, I just yelled at it to focus, and now I've got to move this. Okay, so this was, for the monthly, this was F because it's a farm, S because there's snow, and this was the first portion of the battle prompt, because figuring out how to do the sky and the clouds and the half stitches so that they didn't look funny, and it has taken me since 2019 on this. It's been a battle. But that totaled 712 stitches, and it is now all done. To finish it up, I backstitched this tree, finished outlining this building, and put in the sheep and all of the snow and backstitch here in the snow. You can't really see the snow, but I promise you it's there. It's like this very light blue color like you see here in the cloud, this sky. So that is Dimensions Scenic Farm. All finished. It needs a bath.
Hey, honey.
What?
I was thinking, random Joe thing to think of.
What?
You know you've gone through 3 different types of frames and now stitch in hand since you first started that one.
You are very right. And that's why there's fabric hanging on it.
Because you originally started with... Hey!
I've done Q-snaps, I've done scroll frames, I've done hoops. I do like hoops. I get along okay with hoops.
Yeah, I just thought it was entertaining that literally that project has seen your entire transition of how you used to stitch, all the way different things you've done.
That's bag empty. Put something else in that bag. Super excited to see that finished.
Can I tell the funny story?
What?
The look of sheer, almost demented joy as you ripped up the working pattern on that piece after you highlighted the last square.
It's true, it's true. Oh, and I did the Dorset button as well. I will try to get a better picture of these onto the I'll try to get a better picture of these on. Ooh, wonder. Oh, there we go. Hold yours up. So without the light, that you can see them. You can see the details.
There you go.
There you go.
Ha
Alright. The Dorset button was a really fun class at Needlework Guild, so. Alright, that is whips. Let us move on to, we do have some haul from Needlework Guild. Haul.
Y'all.
Take it away.
Okay, one of the people at Guild, her father is also a stitcher, and he makes these things.
What is that thing, honey?
Give me a sec, I'm about to do a visual aid. It stretches up like this. You put your pattern in these.
You put your...
And this goes under your derriere.
That goes under your derriere. You put your... Well, that didn't work out so well, but... If I had a bigger hoop... So it's a stand. It's
actually, yeah. And it actually, stand. Believe it or not, that is actually quite comfy under your butt. Actually, it goes under my thigh.
Flat, so.
And it fits on my chair, which I got this specifically for what I plan on stitching today, this week. I'll explain that later.
In plans?
Yep, but specifically, I was having a problem with one of my favorite whips because, well, literally it was wearing me out. I need to
try that out and see if I like it and will possibly buy me one.
Yeah, because it's a pretty cool toy. Because
that's why I don't really use much, because I can't hold them because it hurts my wrist.
Then we have, this is actually, I just realized, part of a kit, so I have to raid the wife's stash.
Okay.
Because it's just the pattern the kit's been used, probably.
Well, yeah, the kit's probably been used. Tilt it. When glare is an issue, turn the light off. It says, God never closes one door without opening another.
Though I might have a little bit of fun.
From Stony Creek.
I might change the wording on that a little bit.
Oh.
Oh, I want to change another to a window.
Oh.
It literally just says type of colors.
Well, yeah, it just says colors.
It's very easy.
But it's kind of a generic-y looking, like, not generic-y. hearts and flowers, so that's not too...
Yeah. Well, the reason why I want your help is because you know I'm very bad with the minutia and subtlety of light versus very light violet.
Honestly?
Versus very light lavender.
Honestly, with something like that, you could probably just pick out whatever colors you want.
Yeah, but you're better at it than me, so I'm letting you do it. And then I got... No, you're going to help me, okay? It'd be a fun thing to do together. And then I got a bunch of random sewing stuff and a nice little tape.
Yeah, it was somebody's sewing kit. The lady that passed away that had the pattern, the projects that I showed a couple weeks ago, her family didn't know what to do with her stuff. She was a single woman. Her nieces and nephews didn't know what to do with her stuff. She had so much stuff. So it's kind of been... Heather has graciously been trickling it in to share with us. So, and we talked about possibly some of the finishes, some of her finished projects that are not FFO'd. Well, not a lot of it was FFO'd. That we don't really know what to do with. We might actually keep and turn into, like, for if we have a finishing class and somebody doesn't have something to finish.
Okay. That's it for me, I think. Yeah, that's everything for me.
Okay. I picked up a hoop because I like hoops like this. Of course, if his stand works, and if I like that stand, and we buy me one, I may go back to my scroll frame. And then I picked up CT2 by Alexandra Adelaide, Christmas Tree 2.
I love that. Oh no, I was going to ask, is there CT1?
Probably. I'd have to go look at her stuff.
Because I think it would be cute if it looks like that.
Yeah. She's got, these are, Lace Corset is by her.
Oh,
she's got a lot of things.
And by the way, I said it looked pretty. I didn't say I wanted to stitch it. I just said it's going to look pretty when you're done with it.
It is. It's going to look gorgeous when I'm done with it. Okay. Now, that's not what I wanted to do. We're going to go into plans and announcements. Plans and announcements.
Okay. I have a really simple plan.
Okay.
I want to see how well Zelda Map does with that stand.
Okay.
Though I'm probably not stitching on it today because I've mowed the lawn today. I'm exhausted. I've had a very long day and I literally spent... We're late starting filming because I was mowing the lawn. Because It was so dense. I basically mowed the lawn
It was
twice.
so dense and it's been so wet. And they're putting our pool in this week.
I was hoping they were supposed to call us by now.
Well, I have a feeling it's going to be they call me the night before. So.
Okay.
Okay. So, Friday's prompts for Daily 30 were Cinco de Mayo. Because Friday was the 5th of May, which is Cinco de Mayo. And Cinco de Mayo is celebrated in the United States, even though the United States had nothing to do with it.
I'm sorry. I'll just sum this up easily. Americans like an excuse to get drunk.
Pretty much. It gives us a reason to go eat tacos and drink margaritas. But,
why do you need an excuse to do that, though?
So, one of the prompts actually kind of talks about actually why it's so celebrated here in the U.S. And a common misconception, actually, and that it ties into the first prompt. Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day. It celebrates the Mexican Army's victory over the French Army at the Battle of Pueblo on May 5th, 1862. In the Franco-Mexican War, during the Franco-Mexican War. So, it's not Mexican Independence Day.
It's just Mexican we kicked your butt day.
Yeah, it's Mexican we kicked their butt day. Well, Mexico was kind of the underdog in that war. So...
I think Europe really needed to figure out that fighting a war across the Atlantic was not a good idea. They do not have a good track record with fighting wars across the Atlantic.
Well, you know. So the first prompt is to stitch on a whip of choice and tell us a misconception you had about your whip.
You do a misconception about every single one.
I could probably come up with something for all of them. So, let's see. I've stitched on this.
Which one do you need to stitch on?
Shores of Pockround fall on the farm. Winter solstice. A misconception about that I'm not going into. Cathedral Wood Goddess. Pumpkin Patch Sampler Book. My Stamped Heart Succulent, Harvest Hauler, Pumpkin Farm. I got a good one for that one. I thought Pumpkin Farm was a little bit smaller than that, and it is.
Yeah, Pumpkin Farm.
Okay, so Pumpkin Farm for that one. I'm going to forget this by the time I get to some of these, but okay. So, prompt 2 is about the Battle of Puebla between the French and the Mexican. It lasted from daybreak to evening. When the French finally retreated, having lost nearly 500 soldiers, fewer than 100 Mexican soldiers were killed in the clash. It was not a major strategic win, but it was a successful battle, and it is celebrated in the Pueblo region of Mexico to this day. So stitch on a whip that has been a battle for you and explain why. So that is why Scenic Farm and Farmer's Market were my battle whips. Yes, dear?
Zelda map fits for 2 reasons. One, makes sense for the prompt, and 2 is me being a smart arse.
Because, yeah, Zelda's battle.
Yeah, well, 1, it's the most confetti of any project, but because it's Zelda, I want to keep doing it. So it's a fight to do it. And 2, yeah, it's a battle map. You fight everywhere on that map. The entire map wants to kill you.
This is true.
It's a game.
So within Mexico, Cinco de Mayo is basically just another normal day. In the state of Pueblo, there are parades and recreations of the battle and other festivities, but generally for Mexico, it's just another day. There's no bank holiday, there's no day off work, there's no nothing. So stitch on a whip that is similar to others that you have and explain why. This is a 100-200 week, so I'm not going to lie. I will probably also do Pumpkin Farm. I have several fall-themed whips, and that would be 400 stitches on Pumpkin Farm, which would be a nice amount. Let's see. So how did we begin celebrating it? Well, it goes back to diplomacy. President FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Good Neighbor policy in 1933 was passed to improve relations with Latin American countries, which paved the way for Cinco de Mayo to become a more mainstream American holiday. Californians have jumped on the Cinco de Mayo bandwagon far sooner due to the large number of Mexican immigrant population in the state. So, really, it was started to be celebrated here because we had Mexican immigrants, and it was a way for the country to sort of celebrate its friendship with Mexico. So, stitch on a whip that reminds you of friendship and explain why. Pumpkin Farm would work. So would Pumpkin Patch, because I started those with other people. What?
Which one of those mirrors did I actually get for you?
Oh, I haven't put a couple whips on here. Dressmaker's Daughter, which I'm not stitching on at the moment.
Okay.
I have to put a couple whips on here. So Pumpkin Patch, I started with several friends. like as a Sal. We started it all together, so that would be a good one to do. I do have other Sals. Oh, the reindeer would be another good one, because I started that with a friend. Fall on the Farm, I have several friends who are stitching that. We didn't sort of intentionally start it together, but I do have several friends that are stitching it at the same time. And the same thing with Shores of Hawkrun Hollow. I have a couple friends who have this as a whip. So I have quite a few choices. What would you like me to work on? Shores, Fall on the Farm.
Pumpkin Patch was the first one I wrote down.
Okay, we'll do Pumpkin Patch. In the United States, Cinco de Mayo...
No, I'm not kidding.
He's writing it down. In the United States, Cinco de Mayo is widely interpreted as a celebration of Mexican culture and heritage, particularly in those areas with substantial Mexican-American population. Today, revelers mark the occasion with parades, parties, mariachi music, Mexican folk dancing, and traditional foods. Some of the largest festivals are held in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Houston. Stitch on a whip that makes you happy. Pumpkin Patch makes... So, again, we're back to the... It's a 200, 300 week. So, Pumpkin Patch makes me happy. Most of my whips make me happy.
You aren't stitching on any of the whips that don't make you happy.
I generally don't stitch stuff that doesn't make me happy, even if I argue with it. But, Pumpkin Patch really does work because I started it with my friends, and it was kind of funny because one of my friends sent it to a group chat that we have, and my exact response was, "Who's that by and when are we starting it?" And the story always delights my friends that started it with me, so.
Okay, can we... sorry, I'm just...
That is plans for the week.
I'm out of energy.
Joe's done. Joe's toast. Okay. That is plans for the week. If you see anything, if you have seen anything that you are interested in stitching, I've shown a couple things I can order. You can contact me and I can order them. My shop can order them. I was going to say something else, but I don't remember now. I had another profound thought about shopping with small shops and small LNSs, but now I can't remember it. So you all are lucky because I probably would have gone up at Not Soapbox. Moving along. Thank you guys so much for spending a little bit of your week with us. What do we want them to do?
Have a lovely week and to have a good time. And if you missed having tacos and margaritas, have yourself a flipping taco and a margarita.
Do I need excuses to drink tacos and eat tacos and drink margaritas?
Taco Tuesday. When Cinco de Mayo falls on a Tuesday, I'm pretty sure the world's going to universally get drunk and then fart.
You know when Cinco de Mayo fell on a Tuesday? 2020. No.
But anyway.
Anyways. Yes!
So
I am right.
please,
Cinco de Mayo was on a Tuesday in 2020.
Totally ruined it.
Sorry.
But please, like, comment, subscribe, bell thingy, the whole YouTube, whatever. I'm tired, I'm sorry.
We're tired. Thank you for spending a little bit of your week with us. We hope you had fun. Feel free to ask us any questions you may have about any of our whips or anything that we do. Seriously, you can ask, and we will share. Well,
okay, if you have a question,
within reason,
please go, "Hey, Laura, tell Joe to look at this," because I don't check her. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible, terrible person.
Thank you guys for spending some time with us. We will see you next week.
Bye!